This is Iris Lloyd, president of CUPE New Brunswick, and you are listening to CUPE Talks in the Maritimes with Nick and Chris.
Do you have any takeaways that you're going to be taking from the courses that you've learned so far?
Yes. So I've done a lot of the single day training courses through CUPE already. And one of the most valuable things is speaking and discussing events and experiences with the other participants.
And I would love to see more members get involved with anything, whether it's start out on a small committee. We want to see,
Can you tell us a little bit about what you've learned here this week?
It's a great learning experience, and as long as I've been around and involved, I'm still learning.
I am Nicholas London, co-host of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
I'm Chris Watson, president of the New Brunswick Federation of Labour and co-host of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Hi, my name is Brian Watson, former president of CUPE New Brunswick and now the producer of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes and across Canada.
Wes Wills, Local 380 Vice President.
Hey, this is Justin Spooner, Region DVP and First Vice President of CUPE 1253.
I'm Shelby Dodge, President of Local 3226.
Karen Tier, President of the New Brunswick Council of Nursing Home Unions.
I'm Jamie Agnew, and I'm the President of CUPE Local 963, representing New Brunswick Liquor Store, Retail, and Warehouse Workers.
I'm Sherry Hillier, President of CUPE Newfoundland and Labrador, and General Vice President for the Atlantic Maritimes.
I'm Cheryl Ann Keown, and I'm the Health Care Council President, PEI, and I also sit on Local 805.
Hello, this is Kathy Johnson, President of CUPE 5446.
Hi, my name is Dorinda Smith. I'm from Local 813.
I'm Teresa McAllister, Provincial President of CUPE 2745 Educational Support Staff.
Bonjour, ici Alain Soucy, membre du SCFP, Syndicat Canadien de la Fonction Publique.
Hey everyone, this is Candace Rennick, CUPE's National Secretary-Treasurer, and you're listening to CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Hey, this is Mark Hancock, CUPE National President, and you're listening to CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Edition of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes. I am Nick, joined alongside my co-host, my best pal, Chris Watson. Chris, how are you?
I am doing very well, Nick. A lot to discuss here this week, everyone. As you know, Truth and Reconciliation, CUPW strikes, the list goes on. So lots to discuss. So I'm very excited for this episode.
Yeah, it's going to be a great episode. I'm excited, and like you just brought it up right off the hop, but there's only one way we could start this show that would make sense. So why don't you take it away for us?
Right. So seeing as this is taking place on Truth and Reconciliation here at CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, we thought it would only be fitting to start off with a land acknowledgement. So we are gathered on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Willistok, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy peoples. As we fight for justice for working people, we also acknowledge that the struggle for workers' rights and Indigenous rights are deeply connected.
You know what? Absolutely. And I was thinking, in respect, let's take a moment of silence for all of the victims.
From the residential schools.
Yes, please. Now, with today being as such an important day, especially you and I being here this week, we had the opportunity to sit down and discuss lots of things with lots of different people in regards to Truth and Reconciliation, as well as our new PEI host, who we will be talking about later on, sat down with Josie over in PEI. So we've got that to cover. We have so much stuff to cover today. And I'm very excited about this show. This is the first show we've done that is a tribute to Truth and Reconciliation.
I'm going to say it's an honor to do this show.
Absolutely. Yes. And I also want to say, too, is drum circle harmony, which maybe not a lot of people know about, but that is where that beautiful picture comes from that you see on the corner of our screen. That is for Truth and Reconciliation. We had asked them for permission to use that, and they were honored. They were speechless that we would want to use some of their art. So that is where that comes from today, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful photo and a beautiful tribute to the day.
Really, it is. It really is. I don't know where we start this. I mean, my goodness, it's been a heck of the last 72 hours. All sorts of stuff has gone down. I mean, most notably right now would be the post office strike.
Yeah. It's
CUPE, CUPE 380, CUPE 1253, you know, so many different organizations are there. We're showing support and love and solidarity, and of course CUPW, who is greatly affected by all this, and guys like you and I who have tried to be right there to be a hand, be a voice, just be a friend.
That's right.
These people are going through a lot right now.
That's right. It's what solidarity is all about, being there to support your fellow comrades, you know, whether they're CUPE, PSAC, CUPW, ILA, and the list goes on and on. But like you said, CUPW out on strike, they need our support, and we're there.
Absolutely, we are. We showed that last week. We will continue to show it. But of course, Chris, that goes without saying. But while we were down there, we had the opportunity to talk to the president and the first VP. And I think it's an opportunity for people to take a listen and watch that video.
Yeah, and I mean, that part there, and when we're talking about that video, keep in mind too that we were fresh on the pickup line. Like, this just happened. So this was hot coverage.
You know what? It was about 3:40 when we got there. And between you guys and I, the strike had pretty much started at 3 o'clock. So 40 minutes in, and we were the first two people outside of CUPW to arrive. We had cameras rolling. You know, some people look at this as an opportunity. We looked at it as just being the best brothers, the best comrades we could be, just to be there with our fellow friends and family, walk that line. You know, really, the video, we did not go there intentionally for that video. We went there because we wanted to walk the line, which we did. And the opportunity had presented itself, and Chris and I were very happy to have a conversation.
Well said, brother. All right, let's show them the video and give them a little taste as to what we experienced.
You push and you push and you push, and eventually you've got nothing left to do but push back. And that's where we are today, here on the picket line with CUPW in St. John, New Brunswick. I want to introduce you first. Stephen Ling, President of the Funny Local.
Kate Brown, Vice President, Funny Local.
This is absolutely tragic that you guys have to be out here for a second time. And I just want to know where we're at that you guys are out here now.
Well, after the comments and the report from the minister today, it's become apparent. You know, we've done everything possible as a union. We've gone to the table, we've talked to them, we've gone through jumped through all their hoops. It's apparent that they're on a mission to drive Canada Post into the ground. It's never been. It's apparent now. It's not about fair bargaining. It's about the cost of services and jobs and to the public and just mismanagement in general. There's been a big bone of contention with everybody now so far that with the Canada Post on the part of Purelator, actually 91 or 92% of Purelator, that it's a conflict of interest. In particular, that our CEO and president of Canada Post, Doug Ettinger, is also on the board of Peerless. How can that not be a conflict of interest? How can you be worried about losing revenue and jobs when you can also already filter that out to another company that you already own? Not only that, is the report talks about cutting post offices out, being able to raise a moratorium on with Canada Post to be able to shut down post offices in rural areas, which is going to be harder on the elderly. It's going to be harder on the public. It's just not a good thing all the way around.
This is the second time now that you guys have been out here and willing to fight for all these members. And I'm talking members all across Canada. What are you feeling right now, knowing that this is number 2 because this government, Canada Post, will not meet your needs?
Quite honestly, I expect that behavior from Canada Post. We've been in the same predicament over and over and over again. This isn't surprising, but I'm absolutely disgusted that the government is supporting this bad behavior and endorsing it. And today's message was, we're not for the workers, we're not for the people, we're for the corporations. We're for the almighty dollar. We're the people that voted these people in. Take care of them. Take care of the workers. Take care of the workers, create a strong middle class. Everything else will fall into line.
The atmosphere is overwhelming. The horns are blowing. People are yelling. The support is there. They understand. They see the cuts. We've read the cuts. They try to act like they didn't do it, like they're the innocent victims in all of this. I don't think it can get much worse, and I really do believe that it's time for the people that we voted in, that they take control and they decide that, hey, the workers work hard every day and they just want some help.
And that is with Canada Post. Workers everywhere. Workers unite. Rise up. This isn't right.
This is also a sign of what's to come. I was just talking with Chris about 107. You know what? That they're going to keep using tools like this. They're going to continue to use these resources for their own benefit, and it's just going to get worse. They're going to come after one by one by one. When you say workers unite, Kate, I 100% agree.
Right. And that's why we're here today. Obviously, Nick down here representing the St. John District Labour Council and myself representing the Federation of Labour. We're here because, it's time for workers to stand up and it's time to unite. So, when CUPW has actions, like being down here to picket line, they're starting to picket lines up all over the province, all over Canada. So please attend one of those picket lines and show solidarity with these workers.
And remember, guys, they may have tools, but we have tools too. And we know how to use them. So make sure you get out and use your tools. Show the government that we will not go quietly, that we will fight, we will stand together, and workers will unite.
Solidarity.
And the video was really well put together. It was a great video. You seen the passion in their voice, or you heard the passion in their voice, easy for me to say. You know that these fine people do not want to be down there, but they know they have to do what's right.
That's right. And you can hear the horns honking in the background. Yeah. So, the public support's there. And, for these comrades, out there in that picket line, I know there's going to be frustrating days. There's going to be hard times. But keep in mind, like we said in the video, the labor movement has your back. The general public is supporting you as well. So, keep up the fight. One day longer, one day stronger. And best believe it, the CUPE Talk in the Maritimes will be there as best we can.
Absolutely. I do want them to play your video. You were down in front of Purelator, taking a stand with our brothers, sisters, and comrades, holding the line, showing solidarity and doing whatever it took to get the word out there. And brother, there's a video with you, and I really think the people should see it.
Yeah, and I just want to give a special shout out too to a couple of notable people down the picket line that joined me as well. Past Secretary Treasurer for the New Brunswick Federation of Labor, current Secretary Treasurer for the St. John District Labor Council, ILA 273, Brother Brian Duplessis was there. And also April Babineau from CUPE 813 was also there in attendance. So I just want to say thank you to them for coming out and showing that solidarity. So let's play that video.
Good morning, everyone. Chris Watson here, CUPE Talking the Maritimes. As you can see, yeah, there you go. Down here with my postal worker friends at Pure Later. And we are holding the line strong here. Obviously, for those who have watched previous broadcasts, 91% majority owner of Pure Later is Doug Ettinger, who happens to be the CEO of Canada Post. Certainly what I consider to be a conflict of interest. But what we're asking people to come down to the picket line if you can. And, you know, obviously probably not today, but keep in mind that there's going to be more demonstrations, more picket lines happening as we go forward, trying to save door-to-door delivery services. As you can see, we've got a few vehicles here behind us. They would be scabs working for Pure Later as independent contractors. So needless to say, they will not be getting in. Very belligerent to all the workers here and zero respect. So they'll be waiting a little bit longer. So again, come on down when you see a picket line, not only at the post office, but you'll hear about more demonstrations going to be taking place in and across New Brunswick, but all across Canada. So stay tuned to CUPE Talking the Maritimes, and we'll have all your posts.
It's a great video, brother.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of passion, as you could see. By the police presence, they came, spoke to everyone, and they hightailed it out of there. They can see that everybody was showing nothing but respect. They weren't stopping customers from going in and doing their business, and it was just a very well-run picket line, very organized, and like I said, much respect on that line.
I think that's incredible. Now, we do got to segue into what I think is a very important subject, because it is what brings people to rallies. It is what educates people. It is what shows what solidarity is all about, and that is CUPE education. They got a busy month coming up in October. As you can see, it is a heck of a list. We've got French courses, we've got English courses, we've got online courses, and we've got in person.
I'm looking at the list that we have.
It is a heck of a list.
You know what? All that knowledge, you're forced to be reckoned with. Look at that.
You got financial essentials. You've got stewarding courses. You've got
grievance handling,
trade union representation,
members in front of management, representing members in front of management,
challenging racism in the workplace.
These courses, I've taught a lot of these courses, and I've utilized a lot of the different things, even as a facilitator, things that I've learned from members on those courses. So, you're going to go into it thinking that you're going to learn stuff from the facilitators, but you're going to get out of that as much from the other membership in the room as well. So, I mean, these education courses, huge. So, get in contact with your local executive and find out about when these courses are, and if you're able to take them, take advantage of them.
That's right. And remember, guys, online courses are free.
Mm-hmm.
If you're at home and that course is going on, check it out. It's free to do so. And you heard what Pat Rory said. Any education is great education. And the more you learn, the more prepared you are to be an activist and help your fellow brother or sister or comrade and raise them up and bring them up to that level and help fight and keep solidarity alive here in Canada.
That's right. That's right. And let me tell you, I want to be frank. Don't think that the employer or the government do not take courses on how to, to handle workers and things too. So you need to educate yourself so that you can do a just service for your membership, but also for your own participation in the local and know your own rights.
That's right. I couldn't agree more with that, brother. I couldn't agree more. They're doing the same thing we're doing.
Education,
Yep.
education.
That's right. And I know you're a big fan of Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, extremely. I know another person who's a big fan of Nelson Mandela.
Who?
Brother Bob Keys.
Oh, really?
Speaks
Wow, okay.
very, very, very highly of Nelson Mandela. So
Well, there you go.
I've always had the pleasure of hearing when Bob has something nice to say about Nelson Mandela.
Well, as we begin this day of truth and reconciliation, I will ask that our producer, Brian Watson, play the video with Renee Sargent, correct?
Yes,
Is that right?
CUPE 2745.
That's right. She is an EA here at the local school in St. John, and we caught up with her for a quick interview the other day. And, well, I'll say no more. If Mr. Watson could hear that, that would be tremendous. Hey guys, I am Nick, joined alongside brother Chris Watson here, and we are joined by Renee Sargent, who is an educational assistant worker for the Anglophone South School District, and we are talking all things truth and reconciliation. Renee, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me.
There has been so much awareness about truth and reconciliation, and I think it's only fair to start the show right off with, your thoughts on this day and what it means to you.
Truth and reconciliation, I think it's a good start on accountability, understanding, and a chance at healing for everybody who's had the lasting impacts of residential schools. Yeah.
So how do you usually observe or acknowledge this day?
So I have 3 children now, so we usually spend the day, we usually go for a walk first, and then we read some books. We read the Tragically Hip, Gord Downey. He came up with that storybook. We read that a lot. And we have like a supper, and we have a little spirit plate, and then, we just put some tobacco down and, just a little acknowledgement.
There's so much history there with everything, and with the way things came out, what were you feeling when all these headlines were breaking a few years back? I can only imagine being an Indigenous woman. I know it was hard, and I understand. I really do. But for you, what was it like going through that and reading everything and seeing everything as it was coming to light?
Oh, it's absolutely terrible. It's painful. It's like you don't want to. You're like you just can't believe that it actually happened. That it was an actual cultural genocide, and that people actually thought of us in that way. So it's very jarring, to say the least. But it's also nice that this is all starting to come to light, and there is at least some acknowledgement.
Right. So thinking about it, obviously that's why it's important to, to have a day like this. But, being in the AYA and the Anglophone South School District as an educational assistant, can you talk about maybe what goes on in the school? How do they recognize these sorts of days, and kind of what's happening right now?
There's a lot of orange shirt days, there's the orange shirt day. I think so all the students wear orange shirts. I think that's really cool. I just learned about her actual story. I really wasn't aware, and it was really cool to learn about it. And all the kids it's awesome to see all the kids interested and wanting to learn about this and actually acknowledging and then not wanting to repeat it, because once we learn it, usually we tend not to repeat the past.
Yeah, definitely. Starting as myself as a school custodian, working alongside you at one of the schools, it was nice to see, not only the students, but the staff members be able to get involved in it as well. It's important for everyone to take time to recognize the importance of the day.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because I think that there's nothing more important across all of Canada that we do have Orange Shirt Day. And I have to ask you what that does for you when you see hundreds of kids, really, not to mention millions across Canada that are wearing those orange shirts, staff members, city workers, provincial workers. Everyone wears those orange shirts because it means something to them. What does that do for you when you see so much love?
It gives me a deep sense. It gives me some hope. It gives me hope for sure. And I definitely feel some pride, and it shows that Canada is listening, learning, and we're growing. And that gives me a lot of confidence in our future.
Yeah, no, for sure. So thinking about like a non-Indigenous Canadians, besides Orange Shirt Day and things like that, what can they do to contribute to the reconciliation?
I just think like being kind, like not having a set stereotype on what an Indigenous person is, not assuming like a lot of the things that an Indigenous person is, or what, they're taking our money, or we're paying, our tax dollars are paying for this and that. And it's like, I think just not assuming those things, or maybe if you do think of those things, to kind of educate yourself on how exactly it works, the system, that is.
No, for sure. And you know what? I think that's very important. One of the other things too, though, that I would like to talk to you about is the education part. It is wonderful that they do take time to educate the children. I think it's important. To be honest, if I may, I often think that there's things that even as adults we could be educated on, because it's not like I'm not walking around here saying that I knew all about this, because I don't. I'm learning just like everyone else is. So, do you think there's more education out there, or should be out there, that we could provide for our youth and for our adults that want to know more?
Oh, I feel like there should be, because it's actually shocking to me sometimes how unaware people are of what exactly happened. And they're unaware of the scope and how far it travels. Like it's generational. And until those cycles are broken, the intergenerational trauma isn't going to stop.
Agreed. If you don't mind, you had told me earlier prior to the recording about living in Manitoba, born on the reserve, and you had moved to Calgary. Can we talk a little about you for a moment? How old were you when you moved to Calgary?
So I was 2. My sister was 4. My mother, she lived on the reserve. She was very young when she had us as well. So she was 15 when she had my sister, and she was 18 when she had me. So she was very young, struggling. My dad was also struggling. He was from Long Plain First Nation. My mother was from Swan Lake First Nation, and she saw how I want to say toxic maybe, or how toxic a reserve can be sometimes, how there's not a lot of opportunities. And so she moved us to the city, Calgary, Alberta, because she wanted us to have more opportunities and a better education and a chance at a better future, because that certainly, for her, it wasn't going to be on the reserve, because there really isn't a whole lot on reserves. And there isn't a whole lot of opportunities. So, yeah.
I do think it's great, though, that, things have changed a lot. They really have. I mean, maybe not a lot, but things are getting a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important. Could you ever see yourself back at a reservation, or have you just become so used to being here in the city that you like the city life, if you will?
Yeah, that's what we were called. My sisters, we were called the city girls on the reserve.
I like that.
But I would love to live on a reserve. I would love to go back home, because it's peaceful. It's where I belong. But unfortunately, it's just not going to be in my cards, because, along with residential schools, it really affects people's relationships with their families. A lot of addiction, mental health issues. And so, yes, I would love to go back home, but I don't think, home is a healthy place to be. For me, at least.
That's fair. I respect that. And I mean, times have changed so much. They have. I mean, time has changed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Things are a lot different than they used to be.
Yeah.
So now it's so important to me that I thank you, number one. The fact that you would take time to come on this broadcast with us and discuss something that is so near and dear to your heart, so tragic for the entire country, but yet very tragic for the Indigenous communities. You are an absolute gem, and we are so appreciative of this.
Thank you very much for having me and thinking of me, Chris.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's it's one of those things. I was very thankful to be able to work alongside you and kind of hear your story a little bit. And it's been nice to be able to come on here again, like Nick said, and to share it with our viewers and listeners. So Renee, I do appreciate all that you do. I appreciate everything that you do to bring awareness. And I know that you're going to continue to do great work, not only within the Indigenous communities, but as an EA as well, because you're a true asset to the students' lives.
Thank you.
Hey, Chris.
Nick, what's going on? Hey, what's with the saw?
I'm here to help remove the tree.
What tree?
The big tree that fell in the house.
That's the tree that I talked about on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes?
Yeah, I called the boys, man. They're coming over to help me.
Oh,
you
have to call them and cancel that, because I've already been taken care of. That was 8 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. Higgins Insurance. They already took good care of me. 8 years ago.
That's because there's a safety net for the unexpected.
Absolutely. They're there for when accidents happen. Call 506-849-7800, Pettingill Road, Quispam Sis. Higgins Insurance. They got you covered.
Are back. What a great interview that really was with her.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to get a different perspective, when you're talking about the education system and how it impacts the students and then what they're doing. It's nice to hear.
Absolutely, it is. It was great. We're very happy to have her. And as we switch gears to CUPE, Talking the Maritimes, the new PEI host for us, Michaela Gallant.
Yeah, previously on the show as an interview, and now eager to work with us and provide us some PEI content.
You know, one of the biggest things, guys, and we're very open and honest about it, it is hard for us to be over in PEI at times. Chris being the president of the New Brunswick Federation of Labor, me working full-time in schools, and then also I do this and St. John District Labor Council and my own local 380. It's hard for us to just up and go, especially to PEI. So to have, I like to use the word liaison, somebody who is able to take care of business over there. And who better to take care of business than a true activist and somebody who is literally all over everything than Michaela Gallant, which just happens to be, Michaela had her first interaction on Saturday.
Yeah.
She
Right.
interviewed somebody for us, actually. It really wasn't for us at this point. She interviewed her for her new position with CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, for those who might not have seen the previous broadcast, Michaela is also the young worker representative for CUPE, Prince Edward Island, and the VP for Young Workers for the PEI Fed as well. So, great activist, huge social media presence. I think so anyway. I mean, I know my news feed, every time I'm flipping, it's, you know, Michaela's reporting on this, reporting on that, you know, so she keep me up to date. So I'm like, who better than to co-host over in Prince Edward Island than Michaela?
I don't think there is anyone better.
No.
I think she really was V1, which is why we are now going to bring you her first interview as CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, the new PEI host with Josie Gallant.
Hey folks, it's Michaela Gallant from CUPE PEI hosting the PEI segment of the podcast. Today we have Josie Gallant with us. Hey Josie.
Hi, Quay, ni Deluisi Nukumich Depkana Set Ebed. So hi, my name is Grandmother Moon Josie Gallant.
I love that. So what are your titles in CUPE?
So I am with Local 3260. I'm a trustee. I'm the Black and Indigenous racialized worker with CUPE PEI. I'm also the recording secretary for CUPE PEI. I'm on National Indigenous Council, and I think that's it. I'm on a bunch of different things.
It's always good to have a long list of things.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk a little bit about CAMIC and your work that you do there. And like Truth and Reconciliation Day is coming up, so I thought we could touch on some of that.
Perfect. Sounds great to me.
So what is CAMIC and what is its role in CUPE and how does it function to support Indigenous members and communities across the Atlantic provinces?
So CAMIC is made up of 8 Indigenous CUPE members, 2 of each province, and there's 1 liaison to the council. We work alongside CUPE National, Division, and locals across provincial lines. We do this through education, political action, community outreach. We want to provide strong Indigenous voices for Indigenous members. All decisions are made by consensus, so it's a little different than most committees. So when a decision is made, the council's members have a thorough discussion, ending with a roundtable, and it involves the council members' points of view. And if we can't agree on it, we ask an elder to aid in reaching a consensus. Some things we do is we defend the rights of all Indigenous people. We encourage participation of Indigenous CUPE members. We want to work to improve the understanding of the perspectives of Indigenous people among CUPE and employers through education and awareness. We do a bunch of different campaigns, and we can campaign to defend the right of Indigenous peoples, and we support and collaborate with other committees to achieve common goals.
Cool. It sounds like there's like a lot more collaboration in how you like reach decisions and stuff than like other committees. I know a lot of us do like vote and then like that's it. And if you don't agree or you hit a gridlock, like sometimes it's hard to come to kind of a group consensus. So it sounds like it's a lot more like community
Exactly, yeah, and it's not just like one province. So there's actually four provinces working together. So it's a little bit different than most committees where
Hmm.
it's like one person per province across Canada or just within the region. So we have four people, like four provinces working together to do a
That's
common
cool.
goal.
That's cool. So like what meaningful actions can allies take on September 30th to demonstrate their commitment to truth and reconciliation?
So you could educate yourself. You could start by learning about what territory you reside in and learning about that history. Um, Whether it's the beautiful parts or the painful parts, knowing the whole truth is really important. And learning it beyond textbooks because textbooks tend to be limited and biased, and they minimize Indigenous voices, knowledges, and experiences. So make sure you have a diverse sources, not just one. Um, and you can learn different survivor testimonies that are found online if you choose. Sometimes it can be really triggering. So making sure that you're prepared to hear the history of these survivors. Um, you can look at the Truth and Reconciliation Calls to Action. That's available online. It's a big read. I think it's like 94 pages. It's insane, but really good to read through. And APTN News Special is a very informative show that you can learn a lot about truth and reconciliation. Um, you can wear orange with a purpose, so making sure it honors both the children who survived residential schools and those who didn't return. Explain to others how to foster awareness and understanding. And it's really important to buy these shirts from spots where the money goes back into the Indigenous communities. You can attend and support local, provincial, and federal events. So whether it's local or virtual, which is led by Indigenous communities, you can also consider donating or volunteering to Indigenous-led organizations that deal with like healing, education, cultural preservation. Listen to and amplify Indigenous voices. So sharing Indigenous stories, perspectives, the calls of justice through social media and conversations. But you need to ensure that you're amplifying rather than overshadowing. That tends to happen a lot where people, instead of doing more good, they do more harm. So just make sure you amplify rather than overshadow. You can reflect and advocate. So you can reflect systemic changes needed in workplaces, schools, communities. You can write to your local MLA and MP to support Indigenous representation and leadership. And committing to a long-term action. So allyship extends beyond a single day. So we need to sustain a commitment to reconciliation.
Hmm. Yeah, I remember like I learned about residential schools when I was in school actually, but I didn't realize that that wasn't something that is actually taught by a lot of schools. So my partner didn't actually know anything about them until he had hit his 30s. So yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't aware of any of it. So education is huge.
Exactly. And I know, like, I'm a Kairos blanket facilitator, and I
Mhm.
know that there's a few spots across across Canada that put on blanket exercises for those days. So engaging in that type of an exercise is really good because you learn all the history, you learn the good, the bad, the ugly, and you get to interact with it. It's not just sitting and listening to someone talking, it's actually being more interactive.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay. Why is it important that we don't refer to National Day of Truth and Reconciliation as a holiday and instead recognize it as a solemn day of reflection, learning, and remembrance?
Well, generally the term holiday is often seen as like joyful or celebratory occasion, so it diminishes the significance of the historical context of the day. So by framing it as a solemn day of reflection, education, and remembrance, it makes sure and ensures that survivors' experiences are honored. The focus remains on the survivors and the families and the generation. We are acknowledging the harm caused by colonialism, systemic racism, and cultural genocide, and it's a commitment to reconciliation is strongly enforced when we don't use the word holiday.
Mm. We we know as CUPE that our government likes to fail to act on anything. How has the government failed to fully implement the 94 calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission? And what do you think this reveals about Canada's commitment to reconciliation?
So Canada has failed to fully implement the 94 calls to action. Indigenous children remain to be overrepresented in foster care. The access to health care and education is unequal. Land rights and treaty rights are still unresolved. And true reconciliation requires urgent systemic change, not just recognition or empty words. So I actually have some stats. So as of September 15th, through Indigenous watchdogs, they report that 15% of the calls of action have been completed, with 17 not started, 45 in progress, and 23 stalled. Yellowhead Institute also reports 15% completion, with no completions in 2024-2025. CBC Beyond 94 lists 15 completed calls to action, included the establishment of National Day of Truth and Reconciliation and the Indigenous Language Act. But ironically, the Government of Canada claims that 85% of the calls of action have been completed or well underway. So it's very interesting, right? Like no new TRCs calls to action were completed in 2024-25 and only 15% completed overall. So it doesn't seem like the government really is interested in completing the calls to action, and they're quite glossing over the numbers. I don't think they're really giving a true representation.
Yeah, I think we see like a lot lately with governments not respecting contracts and not holding up their end of the bargain on things and not being very truthful with their communications and stuff. So it's pretty important that we talk about the actual numbers.
Exactly.
Um, so like what is a respectful way to ask an Indigenous person about their territorial ties, and how can questions like these be directed to CAMIC for help?
So you could ask with humility and respect. So, for example, you can say, would you feel comfortable sharing which nation or territory or community you're connected to? Or I want to acknowledge the land that you're on and your connection to it. May I ask which territory or community you belong to? And you have to be open for refusal. So some Indigenous people may choose not to share, and that's okay, but respect their privacy without pressuring them. CAMIC can help. We can help with protocols involving Indigenous peoples and communities and many more things. It doesn't have to be limited to that. So you can contact us via email or find us on Facebook.
Got one more here. How can the labor movement indigenize its language to reflect collective bargaining and contracts better? And in what way can CUPE integrate Indigenous perspectives into its positions and processes?
So the labor movement can indigenize its language and practices by incorporating Indigenous values, perspectives, and ways of knowing into its structures, communication, and processes. So language and communication, you can include language that reflects community, collaboration, and consensus building, which all is deeply rooted in Indigenous governance systems. You can use inclusive language that acknowledges Indigenous lands, histories, and relationships. For example, using the word collective care or shared responsibilities rather than rights and entitlements. Collective bargaining and contracts, so you can incorporate Indigenous knowledge and practices into the agreements, such as traditional roles, bereavement, and cultural leaves or land-based activities. For CUPE positions and processes, Indigenous representation, leadership, and decision-making positions are necessary. Real voices shape policies and priorities, ensuring that all onboarding, training, and consultation processes are indigenized. For example, integrating ceremonies, land acknowledgements, and teaching from local community elders and knowledge keepers. Developing policies that respect Indigenous ways of knowing land and community relationships. We don't always want to adhere to standardized bureaucratic procedures. So an example would be adapting the job hiring process for individuals who have lived experiences or may struggle with standardized tests. So CUPE could use land-based activities to test the knowledge of an individual. And by embedding Indigenous perspectives into language contracts and processes, CUPE can create a more inclusive, culturally aware, and equitable labor movement that truly reflects the diversity of its membership.
Perfect. I just have like a question. What is it that made you want to get involved in CUPE? Like, what is it that you thought, like, you know what, I want to put my name in, get involved, and see what's out there?
So ironically, it started with my mom. My mom's deeply in CUPE. She's one of the VPs of our local. And it kind of started there, like helping her go into meetings, learning about their collective agreement, and it
Mhm.
grew. So I'm used to being in Indigenous organizations and knowing that CUPE has constructs for Indigenous peoples. I grew from there and wanted to be more involved and wanting to help people that are marginalized and racialized, and give them a voice when they may not feel like they have one. And I want to enact more change and positive change, not just, the good, bad, and ugly. So, yeah, I just wanted to just get involved and learn more about QP. There's so much to learn. I'm always learning. And yeah.
We've worked together for the last year or so now, and I always really appreciate the perspective that you bring to our board meetings. And you are like one of the first that's always willing to jump in and volunteer, and it's recognized by a lot of people. And I just really want to thank you for that. And I'm really excited to have you be so involved and bring your Indigenous perspective, your young person perspective. Like you're a really great activist, and we're very lucky to have you.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you so much for joining us and doing all of that, because that I know that can be emotional labor too, and it can be a hard topic to talk about sometimes. So I really want to thank you for opening up and helping us understand a little bit more about CAMIC and the work that you do. And yeah, if everyone can join the CAMIC Facebook group and follow along and see what you guys are doing. And I think you guys are just doing great work. So thank you so much, Josie.
Thank you for having me.
You know what? I think Brian Watson just said it best, our producer. What an awesome interview. That was her first interview. And she did not only hit it out of the park, that thing is still going.
Yeah, what a great introduction for those who might not know what CAMIC is. Amazing work. I'm sitting here. I thought I had an understanding, but listening to the interview, I learned stuff from the interview. So, Michaela, excellent job, and same with Josie too. It's amazing.
They did great. It was awesome. I'm so glad that she had the time to sit down with her and have this discussion. I think it definitely brings awareness to everything going on, not just in CUPE, but CAMIC and everything going on across the country, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You want to take this? We got to talk about CUPE 830.
Well, we're sticking on PEI.
Yeah, we are, because
still on strike. How many days?
62 now.
Yeah.
62 or 63. It's in that. I think it's 63.
We're in the 60s.
It's absolutely pathetic.
Scabs still going on over there.
Don't even get me started on the scabs, man. I am so sick and tired of these scabs. I'm so sick and tired of that government over there.
You know what, though? There's going to come a time on this webcast that we're going to be talking about the victory over in 830, because I'm telling you, these members over there are staying strong as hell. They are fighting and fighting and fighting. That term, one day longer, one day stronger, speaks volume over there to these members.
And keep in mind, too, we now have Michaela over there, who is all over this stuff. As she did say to me, she's going to try to meet up with Robbie this week, the president of CUPE PEI Local 830. So we're going to get that done and get that out. One great thing about having Michaela over in Prince Edward Island is she's able to hit all these things, and she loves to do it.
Right? You got boots on the ground. What?
Yeah, great. She loves to do it. Like, she thinks it's great, and she's a true activist. And I had my conversation with Robbie a couple weeks ago. It was not an interview. It was over the phone, and we discussed everything. And, it's all about power to the people over there. I mean, my goodness, 8:30 is rocking it. They had a rally on Friday. Was it Friday? Yep, they had a rally. They are booming over there. They've got the support of the country. They've got the support of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes. They will continue to have the support, and nothing's going to change. But what would be a good thing to change would be for that municipal government to get off of their ass and get back to the table with a fair deal that they can live with, that you can live with, and we all move forward. Stop backpedaling, sitting in the office. You don't want to deal with it. You got scabs coming out. No one's got time for scabs. So stop with the scabs and stop with the bowl and start meeting with them and get a fair contract on the table, and let's get something done. Sorry.
It's okay. But no, you're right. It's, they're probably, they're spending more money fighting this battle. This is the municipal government over there. They're spending more money on fighting the workers than they would by fixing the issue, by paying them a livable wage and addressing the needs and concerns that they're coming up with at the bargaining table.
Yep.
Right? That's the sickening part. They spend more money and more resources than what's needed to fix the issue. It's mind-boggling how they think that they're doing the right thing by locking these workers out and forcing them on the picket line. There's we're still asking people to call the mayor and council over there and let them know your displeasures. Ask them, stop using scab workers, but encourage them, or don't encourage, demand that they get back to the table and get these workers a fair deal and get them back, get these workers back on the job.
That's right. I couldn't agree more with that. Brother Watson, if you would, could you roll the beautiful 8:30 commercial?
My name is Blaine Parkman, and I've been with the city. I'm in my 39th year. There's a wide range of things that we do. The type of work we do a lot of things, sprinkler systems, fire protection, hydrants. What the people would miss right now with us gone, these cabs are coming in, they're not certified. That deeply concerned us because we saw a lot of issues and the utility scrambling to get people to come in to take over that work, but it's not the same quality of work because our members are engaged with the public, they're dedicated, they take pride in their work, and we want to provide a good public service.
Local 830 is on strike for fairness and respect. For the entirety of the bargaining unit, all 30 members of this bargaining unit is less than $105,000. The city is also attacking things that have existed in their collective agreement for 60 years. So these workers are fighting for appropriate wages, and they are fighting to just keep the things that they already have.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. The members, I'll start with the members. I have 27 of the best members in the world as far as I'm concerned. As far as the support you get from CUPE, I can't even, I'll be honest with you, when I get into this process, I couldn't even imagine that it was going to be what it was. I mean, from their staff that's here day in and day night, like, I can't say it enough. I can't believe how much support there is. And that's not even from coast to coast to coast, the support that we're getting from all CUPE members. And not just CUPE, all locals, period. So, I mean, it's powerful stuff, I'll be honest with you. And I'm going to be honest, our members are going to be here till the end.
To the city of Charlottetown, you picked the fight with the Canadian Union of Public Employees. That means all 750,000 members from coast to coast to coast. We will not let these members starve. We will support these members till the collective agreement is found at the bargaining table. We will put every resource that's needed. We'll see you in the courts, we'll see you in the labor board, we'll see you on the streets, and we will keep fighting until we get a collective agreement that works for our members. Solidarity, my friends.
Again, an inspirational video from over on CUPE Local 830. You know, but it just shows, you know, that many years of service, and now you're forced out onto the picket line. You know, those workers, they deserve to be treated with respect. And again, here at CUPE Talking the Maritimes, we're here to demand that respect and ask that all members, not only over in Prince Edward Island, but if you have the ability here in New Brunswick, if you're heading that way, stop in and see them, but also, you know, give a shout out to the mayor and council and tell them that you're demanding that these workers get back to work.
Well, I think it's important to get back to work, if I may. I think one of the biggest issues here is they actually hired the mayor. Now, I don't know if a lot of people understand that, but when you vote somebody into a position, they work for you. You know, they hired the mayor to work for them. Well, I got news for you. That mayor should not be working for any city, because if that's how he's going to treat employees, then he's in the wrong line of work. Maybe he should just go find somewhere else to play moving forward after this. Sorry.
No, that's all right. You know, so we're keeping on the topic of truth and reconciliation, but we do just want to stray a little bit from that and talk about another important discussion that's coming up in and around the province over here in New Brunswick. Luckily, Prince Edward Island already has this. We're talking about pharmacare. So Prince Edward Island has pharmacare.
Okay.
BC has pharmacare. Yukon, Manitoba. They've all signed on to a federal deal. And now we feel that here in New Brunswick, it's time for the province to sign onto a federal deal so that we can have pharmacare here as well.
Absolutely.
So I will read off a little letter that I sent out. This was a media release, and this went out on my birthday at that, September the 19th. So keep that in mind for next year, folks. So this was sent to, it says today in the Moncton area. Today is an open letter. There were 44 organizations representing artists, culture, societies, seniors, people with disabilities, people living in poverty, private and public sector workers from various workplaces, academics and activists engaged in social, environmental, feminist, housing, gender, justice, and peace struggles have united their voices to call on our provincial elected officials to negotiate a drug insurance agreement with the federal government. The diversity of voices underscores how deeply the issues cut across social lines. This important provincial mobilization reflects a growing urgency around equitable access to medications and to the broader call for a national pharmacare program. Now, this went to the members of the New Brunswick Legislative Assembly. Prescription drugs are very expensive. Presently, individuals and families are turning to private insurance plans, depending on public provincial programs, paying out of their pocket or going without to fill their prescriptions. On October 10th, 2024, the Canadian Parliament adopted a Pharmacare Act as a very important first step towards the road to providing Canadians with a national pharmacare program. The provinces are now able to sign a pharmacare agreement with the federal government, and right now, as I said earlier, BC, Manitoba, PEI, and Yukon have all done so. We understand that there are voices, suggestions that due to the present political and economic situations, the federal government should not sign another bilateral agreement with the provinces, but we would like to add our voices to the thousands of New Brunswickers who support the implementation of a pharmacare program in each province. And we are proud of our present public healthcare system, although it may not be perfect, but it needs to expand and include a national pharmacare program. So we've been meeting with many MLAs and ministers all across the province. Here in the St. John area, I had the pleasure to set up and meet with the St. John Caucus. So I met with 6 MLAs at the same time, one of them being Minister Dornan, the New Brunswick Health Minister.
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, and you can find all this information as well on the New Brunswick Health Coalition Facebook page. That's where I was able to read this information from.
Okay.
So, you know, go to those things, share the pictures. We did take a picture last week in front of the New Brunswick Legislature with our banner about yes for pharmacare. So we're going to be doing some more action, some more pictures. You're going to see people in these photos in support of pharmacare. One of them might be in front of Minister Dornan's office on Thursday at 12. Who knows? But we'll see.
Hey, absolutely.
Right? So again, actively lobbying for pharmacare here in the province. We believe, again, it's time for the provincial government to lobby the federal government to sign a deal and get on board with this important initiative.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. It's long overdue. It'll be good to get on board. Now, to segue from that, to talk about another interview that was done for Truth and Reconciliation Day, or as she likes to say it, Truth and Reconciliation. Kathy Johnson, who is from the Fredericton area, president of CUPE 5446. And like I said to Kathy, what brought us together 3 weeks ago was certainly nothing compared to what brought us together the other night to film that interview. So what I would like to do, if it's okay with you, is we'll get that ready and we'll have Mr. Watson, the producer of the show, could roll that video for us. Hey guys, I am Nick, and I'm joined here now with Kathy Johnson, the president of CUPE 5446. Now, what brought us together last week is completely different than what we are discussing here today, being the fact that we are discussing the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation, also known as Orange Shirt Day, which is all very near and dear to Kathy's heart. Kathy, what does this day mean to you?
Hey Nick, thanks for having me. This day is what I see as a learning day, a teaching day to non-Indigenous people, to Indigenous people, because we don't all know what's going on with our cultures and what's out there for us. With Truth and Reconciliation, this is a day that we do remember the kids that were in the residential schools and what these families went through, not knowing where their kids were and hiding their kids because the RCMP and the nuns and the priests are showing up at your door to tell you, we're going to take your children, we're going to teach them, and then you'll come back. A lot of these families never seen their kids again. So Truth and Reconciliation Day is a day that for, I think, everybody to educate themselves on it.
I absolutely agree with you. When I think of Truth and Reconciliation, I remember when everything was going down and the news reports, and it was daily updates. And I mean, when I tell you it was heart-wrenching, actually, I kind of forgot who I'm talking to, because you're well aware of how heart-wrenching it was.
Yeah.
But, I think it destroyed a lot of people. And it gave people a whole different look on the entire thing, because I don't think people would have ever, even in their wildest dreams, would have thought that this is what was happening.
No, because it was the only ones that knew about it was the Indigenous culture, because it was never out there. We were never educated on Indigenous culture when we were in school. I never even knew we had a residential day school in Fredericton. And when I found out, I'm like, well, that explains a whole lot, because I had friends that went there and I never knew. So it's a hard day. It's a hard something for me to talk about, because I felt like, why didn't I know? And I was blaming myself, feeling bad because I didn't know. And my husband told me, he goes, "It's not your fault. You didn't do this." But when you hear about all this burial ground in Kamloops and, and all these remains and these families that were probably waiting for their children to come home and not come home at all. Yeah, it's yeah, it's something that, like, I don't deal with well, but I like to acknowledge it and get as much education as I can on it. And like I was telling you earlier, I only speak on what I know, and I can't speak on what I don't know.
But that's it really, to me, that's honorable because you're not going to make up any mumbo jumbo. You are just going to speak from your heart about the entire situation. I've had the opportunity of being around you, quite a few times throughout the year. And every time I'm around you, it really is it's a beautiful thing because you bring so much wonderful vibes into the room. You are always a very approachable person. I enjoy talking to you. And one of the things that I just admire so much about you, and you said it a couple weeks ago, was I overheard you bring up your Chris time, which you're referring to the elder Chris Brooks, who I know is up here with you. And I have to ask you what that is. Tell us a little bit about Chris, if you can. And then what is Chris time?
Yeah, so Chris, I met Chris, must have been about 7, 8 years ago. I'm not even quite sure. Down at Base Gauge Town in Oromocto. My husband was working on base, and they started this this group for Indigenous soldiers. And we'd go to the old church or behind the church on base, and we'd do sharing circles. And sharing circles is when you come into the circle, always enter on the left and you walk around to the last seat. So when you're in a sharing circle, you're sharing what you're feeling. If anything's gone that day, you share that. And what is said in that circle stays in that circle. And we all hold the feather. At the end, it's we hand the feather on to somebody else when we're done. And we I just went blank, sorry about that. And we yeah, and everything is clockwise with Indigenous culture. Everything's 4 ways. And it's 4 rounds, always 4 rounds. So back to Chris. I listened to him speak a couple of times, and I also noticed he'd bring men that were dealing with addictions and coming out of prison, like they're at halfway houses because they're out on, coming out of prison, they go to a halfway house. And I just seen the way everybody was included. Everybody was included. He listens to what you have to say. And he takes it in. But it's his voice, his is so soothing. And he knows so much. Like, he's a pipe carrier. He is an elder. He helps youth in trouble. I mean, he just took a bunch of them to Toronto to see a Blue Jays game. And he spends that time with the youth. He works at the health clinic over at St. Mary's. So he's helping people, and he always helps people.
And before he came to our AGM, and I messaged him a couple of days before that, and I said, are you able to smudge me? And the first thing he said was, make sure nobody has allergies. And I'm like, well, I'm just doing it for myself. I need to be, to have this. So we went down, he got there, went downstairs. And my biggest honor was, after I was done, I was able to smudge him.
Oh.
So he handed me his feather. My feathers look nothing like Chris's feathers, but he handed me the feather. You always hold it in the left hand. And he let me smudge him like it was something. And when he came back on our closing day, we were in a circle, and he had fun. And that's what he said. He goes, he could talk about the Indigenous culture all day long. But just hanging out with him, I just feel like he makes me feel safe, that I'm in a safe place. So that's my Chris time.
I think, Chris, the ability of just that, when you say about he makes you feel safe, I think he genuinely puts that over everyone. Like when he's in that room and he's talking, I've had, the same as you. I actually think you and I have been together every time Chris has come to speak at every event, including the Federation of Labor AGMs earlier this year. And when he speaks, I made it a point to go up to him when I was at your AGMs. And I just wanted to say to him, I just want to say thank you. I think that the overall, the air in the room is completely different when you're in there. Like, you just bring this amazing feeling, the vibes into this room. So when you say about how he makes you feel safe, I truly, truly believe he does that for everyone. I really do.
Yeah. And if you ever notice me at CUPE New Brunswick or the Federation, I always wait for Chris at the door for when he's leaving. And it's always to give him that heart-to-heart hug, to say thank you and safe travels. And he always says, you got this, kid. Like, you got this. So, like, when we were at Federation and I ran for that position, and he was like, hope you get it. Hope you get it. I'm like, I hope I don't. I have too much on the go. But and he was great. Like, like I said, he does sweat lodges right now, none, because of no burn. So with a sweat lodge, I haven't been able to get to one. I've been to one before, and I only went 2 rounds. And I remember talking to Maggie Paul about that. That's another elder over in St. Mary's, and the name of the place I can't pronounce. Anyway, I'm being real here. So, and I said to Maggie on the drive home, I said to her, I only did 2 rounds. And Maggie's like, well, that's okay. That's all you're meant to do. So I said to Chris, I said, I can't come to sweats. I said, because I can't get in because my knee, I won't be able to get down and get back up again. He goes, that's okay. You can sit outside and just visit. So I'm just like, cool. I guess that's what I'm going to be doing, is coming to visit.
Aw, I like that.
Yeah.
So when you think, like, when they finally made this is a national holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hardly call it a holiday. If I had it my way, it would be the National Day of Truth and Reconciliation Education.
Oh,
is how I would have looked at it. But needless to say, at the end of the day, it is a day is all about truth and reconciliation.
Yep.
So, Red Shirt Day, how important is it to you as an Indigenous woman to see all those children, adults, older elders, oh my goodness, you name it, wearing those orange shirts? What does that do for your heart when you see that?
I love it because it's we're remembering, we're honoring the ones that never came home, those ones that did come home and are still suffering with it. Those families that are with someone that suffered from it and dealing with it. Because when I open up at at CUPE New Brunswick, and I opened up, and I'm like, the sad part about it is people think Indigenous people are all drunks and alcohol. It's not. It's not. We have some highly educated Indigenous people. We have, people that's Indigenous people that's made, something of their lives. I mean, look at Janica Atwin. Parliament? Hello.
That's right.
TJ Burke, lawyer, sat as an MLA, great guy. We got Chief Alan Polchis, Two-Spirit, man. First Two-Spirit. And look, we got a premier in Saskatchewan. Hello.
Yeah. That's right.
That's amazing. And what he did for the missing women and children, like, hello, he opened that landfill to find, but that all has to do with truth and reconciliation. But it's actually, to me, it's truth and reconciliation, because there's still action to take.
That's right.
There still needs to be action. And people's like, oh yeah, well, it's just a day. And I'm like, I don't care. It's not just a day to me. Every day I have enough orange shirts for 7 days a week. I can wear orange shirts 7 days a week. It's just like when you sell Canadian shirts. I got 7 shirts I can wear every day.
I actually think that's great. I too, I have a couple. I'm not going to sit here and say I got 7. I have a couple that are near and dear. I wear it every year.
Yeah.
The other one I have folded and put it in my CUPE office that I do my CUPE talk. And I know what this day means to you because I'm around you enough to know what it means to you. And the way that you talk about it and the way that you open up and the feelings you show and the emotion you show, it's just, you are very important to the Indigenous community. You may not think so, but because of the way you open up and the way that you are very blunt, and I think that is lovely because it needs to get out there.
Yeah.
I not only respect you, I care a lot for you, and I will continue to. And, I just hope that by being able to bring this show and to do a Truth and Reconciliation special, I hope that this interview with you will touch people's hearts and realize just how important it is. Wear that orange shirt. Be out there, be vocal, ask questions, don't be shy. Because if you don't know something, ask it. It's okay I asked you a question before we went live because there were questions I wanted to ask you that I've never asked you.
Yep. And the thing is, I mean, there's stuff on CBC News or TV all that day. Like, there's education stuff on CBC all day long. That, and yeah, it's a lot of learning. And like I said, every day is a learning. I had someone that I worked with when Canada Day was canceled. And she asked why Canada Day was canceled. And I explained it to her why. And I get a message from her the next day, and she said, "Thank you for explaining it. You didn't belittle me. You educated me." And I said, "You're very welcome." I said, "Because I'm still learning also."
You've educated me, Kathy, on multiple times. Things that I wouldn't ask anyone. And I have 3 beautiful Indigenous stepchildren who I love. You know that.
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't even ask them. But I know I can come to you and open up and be completely honest with you, and you're going to be completely honest back with me. And that's why I admire you.
Yeah, and that's like my grandson. He does classes. Like, he came home one day when he was in junior high, middle school, and I said, why don't you take the Indigenous class?" He goes, "Can I?" I'm like, "You most definitely can." And he's from Millbrook First Nations, and he went the next day, signed up for the class, and he's still in it. And I said to him one day, I said, "What about your status?" He goes, "Mimi, I'm not a number. We're not numbers." And there is a book, and it's about a child that was taken to a residential school, and these kids were all given numbers, and their hair was cut and everything. And this little one kept on saying, "I'm not a number. I have a name. I'm not a number." So, yeah.
You know what? I am so thankful that you came on today and we're able to share a couple stories, talk a little bit about everything. You are loved by many. I appreciate you, and I hope you'll do this again with me.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, I'm working Truth and Reconciliation Day, but I'm okay with that. I fought hard in our bargaining to get that day, so I will work it. But it gives me a chance to wear my orange shirt, and it gives me a chance to, if there's any questions that need to be asked, I can answer.
That's
if
awesome.
I have the answer.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Nick.
We'll talk soon.
Oh, most definitely.
Don't hang up. What a great interview. I really was happy to chat with Kathy and discuss so many different things when it came to Truth and Reconciliation Day. And, it's a really important day. And that's why, today was mainly about truth and reconciliation. Our chats with the different members, friends, we chatted with colleagues about this. It was something that Chris and I were very excited to be a part of and very excited to bring to you, the listeners. And we hope that what we've done has been educational for you, and we hope that you guys have enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, you're right, and like you said, we hope that everyone takes something away from this episode and finds a way to reflect on this important day and remembrance in truth and reconciliation.
We will ask that Brian Watson, our producer, would air a Charred Oak commercial because it is an official sponsor of CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, one that we are very proud of, followed by Words, a very special sit-down chat with very special sit-down chat with Premier Susan Holt.
Hey, Nick. What's going on?
Just order one of those elbows up Canada signs.
Don't even worry about it. Here, you can have mine.
Hey, you already got one.
I did. Here.
That's cool. Thanks.
I can get another one.
No.
Hey.
Thanks.
There's a great local business right here in St. John, New Brunswick that I can get them at. Charred Oak Design. Find them on Facebook. Personalized gifts. They make just about anything.
Anything?
Absolutely. Send them an email, info@charredoak.ca, or you can give them a call, 506-343-0454. And remember, it's extremely important to support local businesses.
This is awesome. Thank you.
No problem. Enjoy.
And there you have it, Charred Oak Design. I can honestly tell you, Christmas in production. So get the calls in to get yourself some great local products to give away to family members this year. Or if you got something for yourself that you want, send them a message, inquire. There's lots, like I said, lots going on out there, lots of great personalized gifts. So always remember when you can, just try to support good local businesses.
Absolutely.
Like Charred Oak Design.
I love them. They do a great job. I have some work done that I have in my living room, and very proud of it. Yeah, you too. That's right, bud. You too. Let's hear the great interview with the Premier Susan Holt. CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, and I am Nick, joined alongside my co-host Chris Watson.
Hi, everyone.
And joined with a very special guest, the Premier Susan Holt. Susan, welcome to our show.
Hi, thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me, Chris. Appreciate it.
This has been so wonderful. This is the second time that you have been on our show. The first time was, of course, the Labor Day activities at Bayside Middle, which was absolutely wonderful. But we are brought here today for a whole other reason, something that is near and dear to all of our hearts. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today, which is truth and reconciliation. And, right off the hop, not to jump right into it, but there's only so many ways you can do it. What does Truth and Reconciliation Day mean to you?
It is a good question to start off with, actually, because it used to be a day of, for me, the focus had been on the truth part, learning the history, what actually happened that was different from maybe what we were taught in school, and making efforts to get educated and to try to understand the reality of the past, the history, that kind of thing, in order to commit to those steps of reconciliation that try to make good, to move us in a direction that acknowledges the harms of the past and puts in place systems to make sure that doesn't happen again. So now it's a lot more on the reconciliation, as some people like to say, front for me. Although I also want to make sure that my kids are learning the history that I didn't learn in school. So it's a bit of both for me. It's truth and acknowledgement of history and facts, and committing every day to making the kind of changes needed so that everybody can have a chance to thrive going forward in New Brunswick.
Yeah, and that's one of the important pieces. I know I have children too in the education system, and it is nice that they teach about truth and reconciliation, and that they have these orange shirt days, because really education is one of the things, it's the only way we're going to learn about this and remember our past. When we're talking about education, I'm wondering, has the province ever discussed or considered putting on some sort of a training around truth and reconciliation for the general public? Obviously, we represent labor, but is there anything that we can educate ourselves that the province would consider doing that we can use in truth and reconciliation?
That's a great question, Chris, because you're right. A lot of times the focus for people like you and me goes to our kids, goes to the school system and some of the changes that have been made there and what kids learn. But what about the broader public? So the province around this time every year and tomorrow will often push out sort of resources or links to places where you could go yourself to learn more, read more, that kind of thing. Encourage people to go and experience things in community, whether that's taking part in a powwow in the summer, whether it's headed to a heritage site or others to learn kind of on the site and through direct experience. But I don't know that we've ever thought about our role as a province from that piece beyond, right? The education and communication that we do on the day of, as opposed to a more persistent push of information to the public. I say that, but then there's certainly things that our government has done differently from the first moment of swearing in to just last week, the new revenue sharing agreements that we've signed with 14 First Nations in the province, and how we communicate about that and how we try to spread the word about that work that's being done. And I guess when doing it, I wasn't thinking this is an education as part of a reconciliation journey. It's more, this is government communicating about a new step that we've taken, but all of those pieces come together.
I think one of the great things too with a lot of this is, like, I really enjoy the land acknowledgement. I really do. I enjoy that. And I think it's important that we acknowledge all that we acknowledge when it comes to the Indigenous communities, the First Nations. I'm a huge supporter in it. So when we do that sort of stuff, I think it's so important that we address that to the people, that they understand that, yes, we say it, but it's okay for everyone that wants to say it, because it's important. Wouldn't you agree that it is important that everyone realizes just what the land acknowledgement is?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great point, actually. We're seeing it become more and more prominent, that different organizations, events, municipalities, and others take that moment to acknowledge the history of the land and the treaties and the nature of the fact that that land is unsurrendered, unceded territory, that there were people here before us on it, and taking that moment of honor and education and remembrance in those land acknowledgements. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that you enjoy them. And they're certainly done lots of different ways by different people. But as they become more of a habit, then maybe that advances our education as well.
Yeah, I know one thing, when we go to all our conventions now, we usually have an Indigenous elder come in and open our conventions and close our conventions. And I can really say that, from that perspective, it's been really huge in doing that. And we do smudging and things. I was never a person who really understood what a smudging ceremony was up until I got involved in the labor movement. And it's very, very humbling, I guess, to partake in some of that stuff. So, I mean, obviously, when we're talking about these, joining in some powwows and things, I encourage everyone to, if you have the opportunity to take part in that stuff, to please do so, because those sorts of things are just, they're so important in working with our Indigenous peoples.
I think it's really cool, Chris, to hear that CUPE does that. I'm not surprised. Actually, CUPE often takes a leadership role in advancing an environment where we respect each other's rights, whether it's typically rights to bargain and rights to safe working conditions and other things. But in this case, it's good to see CUPE driving, creating the conditions of, we want everybody's rights to have their history recognized and their identity recognized. That's cool to hear. Congratulations that you folks are part of an organization that's doing that.
So what do you have planned for Truth and Reconciliation Day? I know you're busy. You and I talked last week, and thank goodness for pre-tape, because you are a very busy person. There is no doubt about that. What's on your agenda for tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow the family and I are headed to Elsie Buktuk. Elsie Buktuk is hosting some events for Truth and Reconciliation Day. There's a healing walk that we're going to go on that I'm looking forward to. And there's a bit of a memorial to survivors of the residential school systems. There's going to be a gathering in community as well. And for folks who don't know, Elsie Buktuk's in kind of the middle east portion of our province. So it's a couple hours drive here from Fredericton, but I believe that all are welcome to come to the community and participate. And there's probably events happening at a community near you, no matter where you are. I know some of my neighbors are going to be across the river here at St. Ansisk for community events, but the family and I are headed to Elsie Buktuk tomorrow.
Now, I'm wondering, you're talking about doing like a couple-hour drive and things like that. Obviously, as the New Brunswick Federation of Labor president living in St. John, office in Moncton, I have multiple commutes multiple times a day, but I've seen some of the different things on the highway. I've seen some of the red dress things for missing and murdered Indigenous women and two-spirited people. I'm wondering, we have Amber Alert systems, things like that in place currently. Has the province ever considered on creating a red dress alert system for missing and women, Indigenous, two-spirited people?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Chris, because there's quite a bit of that happens around the movement for murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls. But a red dress alert, I like the way you framed that. It's kind of like an extra level of alert when it's a woman, a First Nations woman that's been impacted. So I don't know. Let me put it that way. Perhaps it's been considered and I'm not aware. I know the alert system across all of our public safety providers, we've been making great steps to get all of those pieces connected and coordinated so that no matter where the alert is, all of the municipal to provincial to federal forces can connect and share the same information and act quickly and make sure that all of those efforts are aligned. But it's something that unfortunately happens more and more and more violently to Indigenous women and girls, and that persists today. And so more awareness and that kind of red dress alert is still needed today. So let me learn more.
Something to consider, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like the idea. So for all I know, it's being pursued, but let me ask some questions and see what I can learn.
I do want to just say that, and I know I say this to you all the time, but you know what? You are so involved in the communities. It is so nice that there is a premier that is so involved. You take so much interest in everything going on around you, and you ask questions. You're very approachable. We're very lucky as a community to have someone like you that will take the time to talk to people and introduce yourself and allow people to express any concerns that they have. And I just think that's great. And for you to come on here and talk about truth and reconciliation, it really is it's an honor for the people of New Brunswick to be able to hear your thoughts on it. It's an honor for us to have you here to discuss it with us. And we know that you're very busy. So we just want you to know that is very appreciative.
Nick, look, that's really kind of you to say. I feel like it's not enough, right? I get so many invitations and I wish I could be in 15 places at once, because a good example is tomorrow I'm going to Elsie. I had invitations from communities all over the province to come and spend TRC Day with them. And you have to say no to 15 to say yes to one. And I feel like that's the story of my life, is so many great invitations and I can't say yes to them all. And I try to be in as many different places as I can.
I know you do.
But yeah, it doesn't feel like it's enough. There's lots of communities that I still haven't gotten to that I really want to, but hopefully over the 4 years, I will get everywhere and I will meet everyone. And hopefully in 4 years time, I'll have every New Brunswicker will have had a chance to express to me what they can teach me. So I try. It's one of the perks of the job. And thank you, Nick and Chris, for always inviting me, giving me these opportunities, creating spaces like when we were at Bayside on Labor Day, so that I can connect with people in community and hear what their lives are like. So I appreciate that very much.
No, as a labor leader here in the province, I fully understand getting double booked and being pulled in every which direction. I was double booked for this weekend coming up for an event. So luckily I have a very active inner executive that's able to go this way when I got to go this way. As we like to use here on CUPE Talk, we like to use the words of Sandy Harding when we say you got to learn to pivot. So it's pivot, pivot, pivot. So, we understand, like Nick said, how busy you are. And so again, we just wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you for coming on to our webcast here today and talking about the importance of truth and reconciliation.
Yeah, well, thanks for the invite. Thanks for hosting the conversation and giving people lots of different forums to learn and be reminded. And hey, thanks for the shout out to Sandy too. Anytime we can get in a Sandy Harding quote is a good day. So yeah, appreciate that, Chris.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. Keep it up with CUPE Talk and let me know when I can come on again.
Absolutely.
It was absolutely wonderful of her to join us today, to give her words, and for you to have a chance to speak with her as well. And I think this is the first time you've got to chat with her on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes.
First time on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes, yes. We've had the opportunity to meet on a couple of different occasions, but first time on CUPE Talk in the Maritimes to sit down and have a chat. There was some good discussion and everything, and some possible actions that the province can look at. Primarily, one of them, the red dress alert system. So I think when we're talking about that kind of stuff, hopefully we might be able to see some action on that, because I think something like that would be extremely important.
I think it would be. I think it's long overdue as well. It's an opportunity to help here in New Brunswick with the Indigenous community. It's an opportunity to continue to show respect and just how much we do care about the Indigenous community. And just remember, guys, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation is far from a holiday. It's a day to think about the things that have happened and what people have gone through. And, I can speak for Chris and I both when I say that there's a lot of feeling that went into this episode, and a lot of love and our respect, whether it was the land acknowledgement in the beginning or whether it's now as we say goodbye.
Take care, everyone.